Yes, it is. This is the Pittsburgh property diva Lauren Klein, Coldwell Banker, Murraysville. We're going to be talking sales contracts today. Also, an update on the ever-growing Pittsburgh Beautiful brand with her husband. Also, we're going to get into a little mortgages and finance information that you need. 412-628-8286 if you'd like to reach her. But listen, this is an opportunity for you to call in and get every question you could ever think of answered from a real estate professional who's been doing it for a very long time at a high level by simply calling us. All of our lines are open at 866-391-1020. Dollar Bank Instant Access, KDKRadio.com. Lauren Klein, how are you? Busy.
Busy. Yeah, I was just telling you I'm beat today. I hate to admit it, but I am beat today. It was a really busy week. Towards the end of the month, it's always a little bit busier because you have your closings, and we're coming up on a holiday weekend. So believe it or not, it's a really busy weekend, at least for me this weekend. So my parents, my son, and my daughter are in Ireland, and I think they're listening to me right now. So good morning.
No, top of the morning.
Top of the morning to you. So they'll be coming home this Thursday, and just gearing up for Memorial Day weekend. So I had some things happen this week that I thought would be really good to share with the listeners, as far as getting through the sales contract and what all goes on when you write a contract, whether you're a buyer or you're a seller receiving a contract. And sometimes I learn best from mistakes, and we all make mistakes, and I try to prepare everybody as best as I can. But there are always like little pitfalls and little issues that come up. And I thought this morning I would talk about how to avoid those like last minute issues with a sales agreement and a closing. And I had a closing earlier I think it was yesterday. I don't even know what day it is, but it was yesterday. Yes. So I get to the closing table, and my seller is she had already signed everything, and sweetest lady, sweetest pie. The situation was, I have two sellers selling two houses, okay? One house here, one house over here. They are taking the proceeds from two sales and merging into one household. So mother and daughter coming together to live together. And I've done this several times in my career, but it's really, really hard. And I don't think that when I talk with people in advance of listing their house, they understand how crazy it is and overwhelming. So when I say to you back in January, I want you to start packing now. I really, really, really beg you to pack and get organized now, because once we're under agreement, that 30, 45, 60 days, believe it or not, goes real fast. And if you have anything else going on in your life, you're going to feel real, real overwhelmed. And it's a major like breakdown time. So I get to the closing. Everything went fine. We went through inspections, get to the closing. And the buyer, I was just there on behalf of my seller. So it was just me by myself. And the buyer was really jerked around. Because there was still food in the refrigerator. And, when 20 gallons of paint, the buyers were mad. And guess what? It was a half hour before closing. Nothing I can do about it. Nothing I can do about it.
Don't leave, seriously. Just get it out of there.
You think you're doing something nice for somebody, and they get really mad, and it gets real twisted around, and people, their nerves are real frayed by the time they get to the closing
I never
table.
realized you really have to be an arbitrator too.
Yes.
I mean, I never even thought about that, because people really do get on edge when it gets
they really
check
do.
cutting time.
Yes, and it can be very frantic and overwhelming, and it's very stressful. It's right up there with a death in the family, a divorce, and marriage. All of those big life events that sometimes are happy, sometimes are sad. It is still stressful.
All right, listen, if you have a question for Lauren, you can call us right now at 866-391-1020. Dollar Bank Instant Access, KDKRadio.com. Maybe you can kind of dovetail off what she was talking about. Maybe you're in that kind of difficult situation right now and you're buying, selling, getting ready to do the contract thing, and you're thinking, should I do this, or shouldn't I have done this, and that? You know what I mean. So if you have some questions negotiating that contract, you need some questions answered, great place to get that information right now at 866-391-1020. Dollar Bank Instant Access, KDKARadio.com. We are going to get Mr. Chris Klein in here in just a couple of moments, a little bit of mortgage stuff, a whole lot of stuff about Pittsburgh Beautiful. We're going to get back to more when it comes to sales contracts, buyers, sellers. And again, if you're out there dealing with it, you have a question, this is a great way to get some answers, and it's just a phone call away, 866-391-1020. If you need some privacy to that conversation, you can leave her a message at 412-628-8286. Let's swing out to Butler and say hi to Vicki. Vicki, you're on the air with Lauren Klein, Pittsburgh Property Diva, KDKA Radio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Vicki.
I have a small home / farm in Kennerdale. It is on almost 40 beautiful acres.
Wow.
There's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house with an attached 2-car garage,
Okay.
and a 4,800 square foot detached garage / barn with part of it cemented and heated as a shop to work on vehicles. Part of it's a pole building. The problem is that I've run out of money. I cannot fix it. There are repairs that need done. The floors aren't so great. A couple of cracked windows. And it really needs, the outside's painted, the inside's painted, but it needs some work that I can't afford to do. Can it be sold as is?
Yes, it absolutely can. When I have clients who find a property to be overwhelming as far as maintenance is concerned, and just like you said, you've simply run out of energy, money, whatever the case may be, you can sell a property as is. What I would suggest that you do is you use your resources that you have to get the property cleaned up and cleaned out, minimal furniture and decor, so that when a buyer comes in to buy it as is, they see the potential in it, and they're able to manage the idea of purchasing the property. So less distractions, less objections when you go to sell a property anytime, whether it's as is or not. Now, the other thing is you're probably going to need to contact somebody who has experience with selling farms and acreage and make sure that you're pricing the property properly for the area and the overall condition. But you absolutely can sell it as is.
So much.
You're welcome. You're welcome, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
It can be, that fear factor. Boy, I put all this equity into it, but now it's because that can happen. You can become house poor, something in, a healthcare setback, a divorce, whatever. So it's nice to know that at least you have that option.
Yes, and I think when you are doing an as-is sale, the most important thing is to eliminate objection by making the property really visually appealing. And if that just means cleaning up and cleaning things out,
painting a little bit,
right, minimal, and maybe not fixing those big things, but those are things that you want to talk about in your seller disclosure. Be upfront about problems that you have with the house so that the next buyer coming in realizes that, okay, I'm going to have to put a new roof on this in the next year or so because the roof is 30 years old, and no, there's no leaks, but this is something that I'm going to have to budget for in the near future. So being really forthcoming on the seller disclosure with problems and improvements that you've made over the years and things that you do know about, I think that is really important when you're selling a house.
Your buddy Dave Arendi was here last week from NASCO again, and my question is, say if you get a new roof and then you're going to sell the house as opposed to buying it and getting a new roof, should you say, hey, look, I just actually put a new roof on this house like 6 months ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, yes. In fact, I had a house that needed a new roof. It was right on the cusp of maybe making it another year without any leaks, or really kind of just got to do it right now. And my clients, it was pre-listing. We had this chat, and I said, I really think the house is going to sell faster and better at a better price with a new roof on it, because it's one less thing that the new buyer has to worry about. And sure enough, they put the new roof on. I listed it the next week, and I sold it 2 weeks later. So those things do count. But when you are making those big maintenance type improvements that make a house a home, for example, the roof, the furnace, the air conditioner, the hot water tank, the foundation, you are preserving the integrity of the home. It's not necessarily an improvement. It's just what you need to do to keep that house a house. So it's not like putting in a new kitchen where you can expect a return on the investment. It's considered maintenance and what makes a house a house. You can't have a good house without a roof.
No.
Right.
That's your first line of defense.
Right.
But now when it comes to selling the house and putting it up, should you really put some elbow grease into it and clean it as best you can?
100% elbow grease. I tell people this is going to take you some energy and time. And what I don't want you to do is rush and force yourself into something. The market is nice. It's nice and steady. We are just coming out of our really busy spring season, which to me is still busy. And then once we hit summer and people go on vacation and the kids are home from school and, all of that happy stuff, it slows down a tiny bit, but not for everybody. So any time is a good time to list your house if you want to sell it. I just want it to be in tip-top shape. Baseboards, all cleaned. And you see nicks, touch them up with some paint. It is really time that it takes to get a property in show-ready, beautiful, picture-ready condition.
Because the fact of the matter is this, and I've been around long enough to realize, people, if it's clean, they envision what they're going to do to it anyway.
Well,
so it's not so much about what you're doing or how you decorate, but as long as what you have is not a lot of clutter and it's clean.
Right. And smells good.
Yes.
I'm always talking about, I have a really sensitive nose, so I can smell just about anything. But I think that those little touch-ups and having a really deep clean of your house goes a long way, because when the buyers come in, you know what they think when they see a house that's immaculate and super clean? These people really love this house and really took care of it.
Respect it, right?
Yes, they respected it, and they loved it, and they took care of it, and it's nice and clean, and I can move in here and enjoy this too. So clean goes a long way. And I talk about that in my workshops too. There are different ways to deliver the speech about clean to clients, and be gentle. And be gentle with yourself too. Everybody's version of clean is different. And if you need somebody else to put their eyes on it, that's always a good idea.
Look, we are not qualified like the great Marty Gefsky, Mr. Merchant, and those guys, Paper and Paper Nick, when it comes to real estate law. But we're talking about cleaning out houses.
Yes.
Bear with me. Here's a question.
Okay.
So say you leave behind a Stradivarius that was handed down, this violin, by your great-grandfather.
Uh-huh.
And it's stuck in the corner of the attic that you just did. You took the dishes that your grandmother left, but you forgot that. A year later, you're like, oh, my.
Oh, Lord.
Can you get it back?
No.
I didn't think so.
You can try, but, I've had people leave things behind in houses, and I would contact the agent of the buyer who purchased the house, and I would say, oh, my goodness, like a photo album or something. And people are usually very kind and very courteous. But it's really up to the buyer whether they want to.
And by the time you get there, it may be gone.
It might be gone. They might have found it and sold it, but
that's
you
why,
leave.
That's why you have to sit down and put some thought into what's there and do a walkthrough and really do it. Cup of coffee, stay calm, write it down, because you don't want it to be, oh no, I wonder where that is, and it's gone.
Days before closing, not hours or minutes before closing.
So for somebody who wants to put the house up for sale July, they should have been working on it
now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
At a minimum. Depends on how much stuff you have.
How long is it, real quick, I got 30 seconds. How long does it take between the time I call you and you put a Coldwell Banker for sale sign?
2 days if you wanted it to be.
But do you ever determine when it should be after taking a look?
We collaborate. I collaborate because I want my clients to be happy and comfortable.
Okay. And you want to be able to have Granddad's violin, too.
Right.
Man, can you imagine that? Oh,
no.
My. That would be just my luck. Stay with us. We got lots more still to come. And if you have a question for her, call us, 866-391-1020 or Dollar Bank Instant Access, KDKRadio.com. Next hour, Brian Reisinger, Part C of their series, Medicare. It's MediConnect, the Senior Zone, as we continue on KDK Radio. Good morning.
So let me ask you, are you struggling with even the idea of selling your home? Or perhaps you're looking to buy your dream home, but you're not sure where to begin. If so, I want to share with you my 7-step process that has helped me sell over 100 homes a year right here in Pittsburgh. This process shows you how to negotiate the best possible price for your dream house or sell your house for the most amount of money in the least amount of time. Hi, Lauren here from Coldwell Banker Real Estate. You may have come across me on one of my shows, Talk Diva with the Pittsburgh Property Diva. When I got into this industry, all I wanted to do was help people find their dream home. Now, most people think the process can be really overwhelming, and it can be very stressful. Whether it's your first home or your 5th home, whether you want to build your dream house or move into an old Victorian, I tell my clients all the time, it's a big deal, and I totally get it. So, over the last 10 years, I've created a 7-step process that has helped hundreds of satisfied clients. I've even sold a house in less than 2 hours of it listing. I guess that's why they call me the Pittsburgh Property Diva. Now, I grew up in Pittsburgh. I watched my dad work a full-time job as a school teacher, and in his spare time, he was buying and selling homes, rehabbing them, and renting them out. He even built the home I grew up in, just reading manuals. Now, he only finished the house last year, but it's really solid. My dad always encouraged me to get into the real estate industry, but somehow I ended up with a master's degree in forensic science and law. I know, super nerdy, right? But eventually, I realized that real estate is where I belong. So if you're ready to raise your expectations for your real estate experience, I'd love to hear from you. Just click on the link below to download my Buyer or Seller Diva Kit. And you can also schedule some one-on-one time with me so that we can fulfill your dreams today.
pittsburghpets.org. To schedule a personal tour, call 412-548-4100. That's 412-548-4100. Terrace Place at Vincentian. It's all about living.
Now, here's the up-to-the-minute AccuWeather forecast.
Brought to you by Ireland Contracting. Call 1-800-NEW-ROOF or visit IrelandContracting.com.
For today, we'll see partial sunshine. It will be warm and humid. A couple of strong thunderstorms around late in the day. Watch for flooding and damaging winds, high 83. Partly cloudy, low 66 tonight. But tomorrow, Memorial Day clouds, a little sun, a strong thunderstorm in spots, high 79. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Bill Degger on News Radio 1020 KDKA.
It's 70 degrees at Pittsburgh International. Our next news at 9 o'clock. I'm Melinda Roeder on the Voice of Pittsburgh, News Radio 1020 KDKA.
The following is paid for by Property Divas, LLC.
These are the people who make Pittsburgh work. This is Pittsburgh Works on KDKA Radio.
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to resume the broadcast that is the Pittsburgh Property Diva. Listen, before we get your husband in here and talk some things that is on his mind, in particular how Pittsburgh Beautiful continues to grow, talk to me, you being a pet lover. And listen, Dr. Doolittle and you cut from the same cloth.
Nobody loves pets more than I do.
But you brought up something that I think is extremely important for the consumer.
Very important. Okay, so for sellers, if you have pets, and again, nobody loves pets more than I do. I have 3 cats and 3 dogs. When you are listing your home, it is very important when you have showings, you have agents and buyers coming into your house, strangers into your home. It is very important to find a safe place for your pets when you are entertaining showings. I had an incident this week, and it wasn't an incident. It didn't turn into anything, but it really got my hair up. I went to show a house. There was a very large, angry pit bull in the yard and a little chihuahua in the house, which the chihuahua didn't bother me, and it was fine, and it was just kind of walking around yipping. Well, I got upstairs to the bedroom, and I opened up the bedroom door, walked in, and there's another pit bull in the bedroom. Well, I love dogs, but dogs sense people's fear. And this dog made me really nervous. And the seller said, don't worry about it. He doesn't bite. Yeah, I don't know if I'm... It's a huge liability for the seller if that dog hurts somebody on their property, an agent, a buyer, a child. Any number of things can happen when your dog is nervous. So please take them with you in the car, put them in a crate just to keep their nerves down, and keep your buyers and the people coming to look at the house safe.
Excellent point. Now, speaking
public safety announcements.
But all pets are beautiful, as is Pittsburgh, as is St. Louis, as is Baltimore, as is New York. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the star of the show.
All of a sudden, you're the star, Chris.
Chris Klein.
I was just sitting here thinking, I wish I could segue the way Rob does.
I know, right?
Well, it's true. You're amazing with what you've done with this brand, and I'm a big fan of. Listen, when you spent 20 years in television and social media comes along, for people who have Type A personalities, you're all in because it's a great tool, but you've taken it to another level. I've never seen, and listen, I've been around this business since the late 70s in electronic media, both visual and electronic as far as radio. I've never seen anything like this.
Oh, well, that's a huge compliment. Thanks, Rob.
A lot of work too. Go ahead.
So, honey, tell us what's going on with Pittsburgh Beautiful. I know you have a couple announcements that you'd like to make and talk about your new app.
Yeah, it's really excited right now. We're offering a subscription service on Facebook. They chose us to beta test this new service they have. And what it does is if you go on our page, you can become a supporter. It's only 99 cents a month, but it allows us to bring more exclusive content behind the scenes at events, discounts from local merchants. I'm going to be talking to a friend of yours soon down in Bloomfield about a discount. Hopefully that'll pay for your subscription for the year. I mean, it's under $11 for the year, and it helps us to continue doing this.
You have friends in Bloomfield. Well,
She has friends
I like to think I have friends everywhere.
Now you can spend as much time here as you want today.
Yeah.
I love Bloomfield.
I love Bloomfield too.
Before we go any further, say hi to some people. They're in Ireland.
Oh, Julia and my mom are watching me on Facebook right now. I think so. Hi. Miss you. Stay away from cliff edges and wild sheep.
And
not too much Guinness.
Right.
Not too much Guinness.
Right.
Okay. Have a good day.
And
thank you for letting me. I didn't want to forget
you're
to
welcome.
do that.
Right. I don't know if they're still watching or not, but they were.
Okay.
And we have a viewer from Greece as well on Pittsburgh Beautiful.
Oh, I'm part Greek too.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We're all part of everything, I think.
Opa.
But anyway, so the subscription is a really exciting thing. It's going to allow us to do a lot more. We also have a Pittsburgh Beautiful app. You can get it at the iStore or at the App Store.
It's free, right?
It's free.
Okay.
It's free. Thank you. And
Explain what this whole, in case people haven't seen it. It's a painting of this great community that unfolds every day in aspects that you've never seen before.
Right. It really is a community. We have on Facebook, we now have over 200,000 followers. On Instagram, we have almost 58,000. The website is very active, and it's a community of people around the world, actually, that love Pittsburgh and just love everything it stands for, love everything it's about. I've been to a lot of cities in the country and in the world now, like a lot of people. And for me, Pittsburgh it's number one. I mean, every city has advantages and disadvantages, but we really try to shine a positive light on what's going on here and what this place looks like. And our followers and the fans are the ones that provide us a lot of the content, the pictures of the things they see. So, I mean, I couldn't be more grateful that first of all, that I chose Pittsburgh as my home almost 30 years ago. And real quick, going back to the app, because I can tell by the look on everybody's faces here that we got to go to break.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Okay, we're out of time.
The mic, man, I just all day long.
No, you're fine.
Day.
You're fine. Go ahead. You're fine. Go ahead.
But what we have the app for is a way for you to, if you open up the app, and it is free, there's no subscriptions, there's nothing like that. If you open up the app and you see something beautiful, it accesses your camera on your phone. So it's for an iPhone or an Android phone. You can take a picture, hit submit. I get the picture right away, and I'll throw it up on our social media. It also has an events calendar that doesn't have a lot on it right now, but I'm building it out. We're going to have just about every event in Pittsburgh on that calendar with the location on a Google map, and you can buy tickets right from our app. And there's so many other things that are coming, and I'm so excited about it. I want it to be the premier go-to app and place to find out what's going on in Pittsburgh and also communicate about how wonderful it is. So
it's a feel good thing.
It is.
People don't say mean things. They're not aggressive. It's just a nice.
If you look
place
at
share.
Here's the concept. This is how I look at it. All of the displaced Pittsburghers, after everything that happened when U.S. Air went away and the steel industry, all of these Steeler bars started popping up all over the country. This is a great way for people who have roots here to stay plugged in, and there's nothing better. Why do you think you sit and look at old photos of when you grew up in your neighborhood? This gives people a chance to, when they're going through different times in their life and they're a little homesick or they've lost a loved one, they can look and see how progressive Pittsburgh is and also see some of the nuances that made it special for them too.
Right.
Yeah, and I think this is probably other than the late 1800s, this time we're in right now for Pittsburgh is probably the most important time this city has seen in almost 100 years, because we are on the cusp of becoming once again, not in our eyes, because I think we are this, but we're on the cusp right now of becoming once again one of the great American cities in the eyes of people from outside Pittsburgh. And there's so much this place has to offer, and so many incredible things going on. Every time I moved here, like I said, almost 30 years ago, every time I drive through a neighborhood in this town, and I've driven through all of them now, I am just amazed, especially in the last 5 to 7 years. Lauren knows I can't stop talking about it when we drive through a neighborhood. I'm amazed at what's going on. And yes, we still have issues. And yes, we will always have those issues. But the more we come together to talk about what's good about this region in this town and why it's so important, and when I say the region, I mean all of Western Pennsylvania, The more we do that, the more we help to lift other people up. And that's what this is about.
We're going to go to break, but if you were here in the 1880s, you'd be walking the same streets with people like George Westinghouse and Andrew Carnegie and Henry Clay Frick, J.P. Morgan, who went on to start, General Electric with none other than Thomas Edison, and J.P. Morgan Banks. We all know that. But here's what's weird, how everything that's old is new again. All of the people from Silicon Valley and the greats like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, all of those people who were working for Facebook and Google are now coming to Pittsburgh because it's affordable and they find it fascinating. So we've kind of gone full circle in a way.
Yes.
I agree.
And Pittsburgh Beautiful's there every step of the way.
We are.
We'll come back. Stay with us. Anything else you'd like to add? We're out of time. No.
Always.
We'll be back.
KDKA Radio welcomes another Pittsburgh.
Across town or around the world.
Brian Reisinger coming up next to our MediConnect Senior Zone. Part C, very interesting stuff. Please stick around for Brian. He'll be here in just a couple of moments. But it's back to Lauren Klein, Pittsburgh Property Diva. We want to keep Chris in here for just a minute because I know you want to talk a little mortgage biz with him because that's what he does for a living and does rather well. So if you will, let's get back to Chris and then we'll kind of wrap up the show. We've been talking about sales contracts today.
Yes. Well, I got a little segued because I always have so many things I want to talk about. But if anybody has questions, and I do my best to return emails and telephone calls as quickly as I can. But you can always call me, 412-628-8286. I have tons of resources on my website, pittsburghpropertydiva.com. There are seller tabs and buyer tabs with all kinds of tips and information and moving checklists and get your house ready. So use that as a resource. It's all information that I've written, and I like people to use it because it does help you. And speaking of help, Chris, now that we're in, I'm seeing a lot of multiple offer situations. I was in one last night. How important is it to have a really tight pre-approval and have your money situated in the bank and a good lender on your side when it comes to multiple offer situation or just buying a house?
It's extremely. Am I on? It's extremely important. Yeah, and whether or not it's a multiple offer, I mean that doesn't
actually matter. You just
right.
need to be pre-approved and have all of your ducks in a row.
Right. And what's a good pre-approval? What's a bad pre-approval? I mean that's important to understand, and we could do 15 minutes on that. But the bottom line is, you know, and I work at PNC Bank, and the way we handle pre-approvals, it's pretty tight. You know, we get a full credit profile. We ask for a lot of your information up front. So we almost pre-underwrite that file before it ever sees an underwriter's desk.
I'm going to ask you two questions,
Okay.
I'm going to put you back on track here. How much does a pre-approval cost?
Nothing.
And what does it do to your credit score when you go to a bank and you ask for a pre-approval? I have clients ask me this all the time. Is it going to ding my credit?
No, and it's a qualified no, because if you get a true pre-approval, we pull what's called an in-file credit report, which pulls from all three bureaus.
Okay.
You know, Equifax, TransUnion, and I don't know, I'm forgetting the name. It's early in the morning.
Okay.
Experian. And, so it dings your credit, meaning there's a credit pull on your credit.
Okay.
But it's not going to hurt your score or disqualify you from the mortgage. It's an inquiry. Now, if you go and have 10 places pull your credit, then you're going to start to see a difference in the score because it just looks funky to the credit
So
bureau.
if somebody were shopping for a mortgage, would you suggest that they just get a pre-approval and then shop a rate if that's what they want to do?
Yeah, rate means absolutely nothing when you get a pre-approval.
Right.
We see this all the time. People haven't even started their home search, and they're concerned about their rate, what their rate's going to be. And by the time you buy a house, I guarantee you the chances of that rate being different slightly or even a lot are pretty good because rates can change every day. So you want to get your pre-approval, understand the amount of money that it's going to take. You'll always have a range of a rate that a good bank or loan officer, such as myself, will give you.
Sure.
So you'll have a good idea. Worry about the rate when you're about to sign the contract.
Well, after you sign the contract, you have 7 days to make your mortgage application.
Right.
So if somebody gets a pre-approval with you and they want to shop your rate, which happens.
Yes, it does.
They have 7 days in which to do that.
Yeah, and let's make that clear. Your real estate contract says
correct.
It's not the bank telling you have 7 days.
Your real
it's
estate,
the real estate contract.
Your sales agreement says you have 7 days to make formal application. So they have 7 days to shop your rate or go with another lender.
Right. And the clock is ticking that whole time. And you know, at PNC, we've made some changes in which we're doing loans in a very, very small, short period of time.
I can attest to that. I have clear to close 2 weeks before my scheduled closing date, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Not just for me, not just for my buyers, but also for the agent on the other side and the seller to know we're clear to close.
That part's
we're
done.
good to go.
Yeah, because
we'll see you at the closing table.
That is the most frustrating part. But just like you talk all the time about preparing your buyers and sellers up front and then setting those expectations throughout the process.
Right.
A good loan officer is going to set those expectations up front as well, because the mortgage process, even if you are the most qualified person or persons out there, it can be tedious.
Right. And I can attest to that too. It does get on people's nerves.
Right. And if you explain that up front, it may still get on their nerves occasionally, but at least you've got something to fall back on. And in the back of their mind, they're thinking, well, I was warned about this. So yeah, let's just
do it.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
That's why
awesome.
I love the banking business.
I do. Well, I like Chris has been doing this for so long.
I can tell.
More than twice as long as I've been selling houses. But we do make a pretty good team when it comes to servicing the consumer. That's the most important thing to me in a real estate transaction. Not only are you getting a house that you love, and I want you to have an experience that you can look back on fondly, even if it is a little stressful.
Let me ask you this real quick, and Chris, you can stay in with this on this one. Hand money. I've often wondered about this. How much hand money, and when are you in jeopardy, if ever, of losing your hand money?
Okay, this is a great question. So your hand money, when I write offers, or when I receive offers, I want to see a minimum of 1%. So on a $200,000 house, I want to see at least $2,000 in hand money. Now, the broker for the buyer typically holds that hand money in escrow until closing, and then it gets credited back to you at the time of closing. So it's, say, $2,000 less that you bring to the closing table. Now, it's very important that you have a good relationship with your agent when you're under agreement on the buyer's side, because that's your hand money, and you are at risk of losing it if you don't follow the contract. So when I tell my clients, make your mortgage application within 7 days, have your home inspections done within 10 days or 12 days or 15 days, whatever's in the contract. The hand money is protected during the home inspection contingency period. So if you get to a house and you decide, ooh, this is just very overwhelmingly bad for me, I didn't expect this, I want to terminate the contract, you only have a certain period of time in which to do that and get your hand money back within the confines of the contract. So timing those first 2-3 weeks out of the gate, very important.
1 minute left. I know you want to say something, Chris.
Well, I think she pretty much covered it, but hand money from your mortgage company's perspective is it's important that money come from somewhere that we can trace. So
not your mattress.
Right. It can't be cash. It can't, and real estate companies don't accept cash. It can't be a gift from mom or dad where they write the check. You've got to write the check, and I could talk on and on about that, but you should talk to your mortgage lender about your hand money before you ever write that check.
And your real estate agent.
I'll tell you, I'll cut to the chase, make it easy on both of you. You write the check, I'll accept it.
Yeah.
I'm writing one right now for you, Rob.
Thank you, sir, very much. Listen, always good stuff. Please check out what he does, Pittsburgh Beautiful. And, of course, Lauren Klein. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Always a joy. Thank you so much. And just keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Happy Memorial Day.
I find it fascinating, this industry, from the financial aspect of it, what he does at PNC Bank, great bank in our community, and, of course, what she does with Coldwell Banker, that brand as well, in Murraysville. Stay with us because Brian Reisinger coming in. It's lesson time, part C of his series, Medicare. Don't miss it next.